Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of a double feature. This week we were talking about The Sting, directed by Gregory Roy Hill. And thanks for all those who participated in commenting and checking out our reviews. It's really awesome to have so much interaction. But now is the time where Derek and I and the rest of you are going to sit down and we're just going to talk about some of the things that we thought about the film and maybe kind of scrutinize each other just a little bit. So I was intrigued very much in your review by the playing friends like Marks. That part of the film actually really bothered me because I felt like it was almost too ambiguous. That they mention it one time and then it just keeps going, and we see Hooker getting into more and more trouble and getting closer and closer to the edge. And then at the end, it just kind of all works out, and it's like, okay, but did Hooker learn that lesson that Paul Newman was trying to teach him? I don't know.
Well, for one, I think the playing your friends like Mark comment is needed in there to create some of the ambiguity that makes the film work so well in my mind. Because at the very end, we have that split tension that we start seeing Hooker and Gondorf become very edgy, especially when they're around each other, and we don't know if they're edgy because they're just stressing out about the heist, or if they're actually stressing out because they're trying to keep secrets from each other. Gondorf doesn't quite trust Hooker all of the way, or so we think, or maybe Hooker is just trying to prove himself as the bigger man and take everything on by himself, and he doesn't trust Gondorf enough. And so I think that comment is needed in order to build sort of the suspense there at the end. I don't know if we'd have that same sort of feeling of suspense without that comment there.
I will admit, I think one of the things, and I think actually both you and I commented on this, was that it was very refreshing to have them leave stuff out and almost make us believe that, oh man, the FBI is on to Gondorf, and yikes, is Hooker gonna betray him? And that was really fun to kind of have that play out, and then in the end realize that the whole time Gondorf was looking out for Hooker, you know, even though maybe Hooker wasn't looking out for Gondorf.
Sure.
If you will.
I look at that line, and in my write-up, I even mentioned, you know, how we, at least me personally, I liked being the Mark, because I think we are sort of, quote-unquote friends. I mean, we're in the inner circle. We can see just enough happening to know what's going on. But in the very end of the movie, we find out we've been had just like everyone else.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we've been played. But, you know, it's Paul Newman. I can forgive him.
Right. No, that is true. I gotta say, I think that was one of the biggest flaws. You mentioned it in your review of movies like The Italian Job and Ocean's 11. You know, there's really none of that element in those films. They're great movies, and they're really, really fun heist movies, but it's not as exciting knowing everything as it's going on and knowing how the heist is going to be played out, and it's not as exciting as The Sting was, where at the end they shoot each other and you're like, wait, what? They're dead? And then that was the whole con, and you're like, oh, that was so brilliant.
Yeah. I know there's going to be people who are going to disagree with us, because, I mean, take the newest versions of the Ocean's 11 remakes. Okay. Where there is something held back until the very, very end. because I think they at least realize that they can't give us everything, but the part that they hold back at the very end is, I mean, it's so minuscule. It's just sort of like the icing on the cake. We've seen them take the cake, but now they're just going to surprise us with, oh, look, and here's a little pretty thing that we were able to get as well. I like it. It's fun. It's entertaining. But at the other hand, there's no legitimate surprise there.
Right. No, I agree. I think the only time I was truly surprised in Ocean's 11 was the time when George Clooney's sort of kicked out, but you don't realize the whole time that they already pre-planned that. That was a bit of a shock, but you're right. Other than that, it was just the cherry on top. I agree.
At least for me, I couldn't believe that they actually kicked George Clooney out. They're not going to kick Ocean's 11, Danny Ocean, out of his own movie.
Right.
So I'm like, no, that one's a little too far. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. Something's happening. And so I was just sitting the entire time waiting and seeing, okay, what's happening? So the suspicion was a little too high.
Sure, it aroused. Absolutely. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, but they're still good movies. I mean, you're right. I love those movies. Sounds like you do too, and they're great movies. But I think The Sting is the heist movie that really can call itself the original heist movie for sure.
That's not to say that it was the very first one.
Right.
But I think it's the first one that sort of had that surprise oomph to it, and it was a heist movie that really the heist was on the audience, and I like that.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Well, question back at you.
Sure.
To change the genre a little bit, let's go from heist movie to revenge movie. Since you talked about revenge, do you feel that at the end it holds up as a revenge movie?
You know, that's the thing. I think it just falls a tad short. I would agree with you on that. I mean, it's so close, though, because you've got this element of these friends, they're in it together, and he retires, and there's this loyalty, and there's this trust, and there's this almost brotherly love that's been developed. Then, he's murdered, and he's trying to settle that score, and, the ending comments, like I said in my review, I really love those. It's not enough, but it's close, and I'd only blow it, kind of learning that it's not about the money for me. It was just about settling the score and making the world right again and whatever, putting everything back into balance. I don't know. But so I think it was almost a revenge movie, but it fell short on the wayside.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's something that actually intrigues me about that movie. Because what no revenge movie will really ever tell you is that revenge isn't worth it. Revenge is always worth it. Look at the Patriot and Gladiator and all these high-profile revenge films, and every single one of them, it's if they can get the revenge and kill the guy, the world is right again. And we always have these idyllic going home motifs at the very end.
Like the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah, Count of Monte Cristo. Absolutely. I don't know. In my mind, again, this is me, extreme skeptic, I don't buy it. The entire reason why you went out to get revenge is because the person you loved more than anything in this world is dead, is killed, and going by just killing the person who killed them or settling some arbitrary score is going to make the world right again. I don't don't buy it, for one, and for that reason, I think the Sting falls short as a revenge in the revenge genre, but I think it's more true to life of what an actual revenge would be. There's no way settling any type of score is actually going to bring you up to a clean slate, as it were. But right. I did like the thing. It came close.
I mean, you raise a good point, is killing that person or taking their money or whatever, making them suffer, it still doesn't bring anybody back from the grave or make you any less, or maybe not any less, but maybe bring any more peace. Maybe it does, but I think you're right. I think that's sort of this arbitrary notion that maybe Hollywood has presented to us.
Friedrich Nietzsche started pointing out the similarities between revenge and justice, and he said that the only difference was justice was state-sanctioned and revenge is not. So justice is just state-sanctioned revenge, and vigilante justice, state justice, the only difference is we have more people involved with state justice rather than vigilante justice. Other than that, they're both running off of almost pure emotion. There's no high ideal going on. So I sort of bringing it back to the Sting. I have to ask, is this ultimately just emotionally driven, or are they trying to prove a point? Are they really trying to uphold a higher ideal?
I guess I'm a little more hopeful that the case is that, yes, it was more than just taking the money. It was just trying to bring justice for his friend.
Okay.
That's my hope, at least. I hope that's what I hope that's what the intention was.
But I think, just, a heads up, I think this question is going to come up later in future films. I'm thinking of one in particular of a certain superhero who claims that he will not kill, but on the other hand, there are certain times when he refuses to save. Is there really a difference? I'm going to argue that there's no difference at all.
Yeah, how did I know this was coming? I will hold my remarks until the future episode.
I'm just going to try and make as many people mad as I can right now. And Batman still kills people.
Oh my gosh. Well, I gotta tell you, The Dark Knight Rises, did you see The Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah.
He kills several people in that movie, and they don't even try to cover it up.
Yes. I think his one rule is he won't kill important people. Yeah, quote, unquote. Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever.
We'll have to finish this conversation in 2 weeks.
Whoa, spoilers.
Spoiler. Say, thanks for joining us today again on another great episode. Come back tomorrow as we'll be posting our reviews and the intro video for the film that we'll be checking out next week. And as always, hop over to our Twitter handle, our Facebook page, or our Google Plus page if you want to see whatever stuff we're thinking about and stuff that's going on that's cool in the world. And until then, we'll see you guys next week.
All right.